What's that like? What's going on, people? Hey, it's another edition of the What's That Like podcast, and I'm your host, John Knowles. So how's everybody doing? It's been a while since we've had an actual show. We had great feedback from the last episode we did where Bob interviewed me. I want to thank everyone for listening to that and let me tell the history kind of the show and how it got started and everything that Bob and I have been doing to kind of get it going. It's been a lot of fun. This episode, I'm kind of cranking out in a little bit of a hurry. It's very time sensitive. I've got Zach Wygal back. And Zach, as many of you know, runs an organization called Stamp Out Cancer. And we're going to hear all about that as the episode goes on. But the reason we've got him back on so soon is he chose our show as a platform to announce the 5 celebrity teams that are going to be competing in this year's Stamp Out Cancer. So we're going to hear all about that coming up. I want to thank everyone as well for continuing to tune in to the Queen of Hearts drawing every Friday night at Turner Hall. That event is just out of control at this point. I mean, we're 17 cards left. Today is November 12th. And we've got 17 cards left, $350,000 probably this week in the pot. It could go out at any time. It could last till March. We'll just see how this goes. It's nuts, but I really appreciate everyone tuning into the show every week. We're actually starting to have some kind of server issues from the cell phone towers, I think, here in Mount Olive. We've got so many people tuning in and watching on Friday nights. It's just unbelievable the amount of people. There's probably 1,500 to 2,000 people at Turner Hall now every Friday night. It's just crazy. So, and a lot of that is spilled over to me. I can't thank everyone at Turner Hall enough for allowing me to be the broadcast partner for that event. It really works out for everyone there. I think I help out a little bit as much as I can there with some of the sound system issues and things like that. So it's a whole lot of fun. You just got to see it to believe it, though, really. Also proud to announce we've got T-shirts that are going to be available. Very simple, one single color, white ink. It just says, "What's that like?" across the front. Pretty cool. Got a logo on the back, a little bit of a web address. But other than that, really neat. We got a lot of good feedback on them. We've given quite a few away at this point of some swag with some giveaways and some folks that help out at Turner Hall, too. So they're wearing them. But really, putting them out there to just really kind of help offset some of the costs that I have here on the podcast. I host this show. It does cost me a web hosting fee every single month, ad fees, things like that. So hopefully it's going to help offset some of these costs. Again, it's a podcast. I'm not looking to get rich or make a whole bunch of money off this thing for sure, but certainly it is something that helps offset the cost. Victory Lane Ford just came on and started sponsoring the Queen of Hearts broadcast too, so I got to thank them. Thanks a lot to Gene and everyone there at Victory Lane Ford for coming on that show and really helping to support the live broadcast. We created the Victory Lane ticket cam, all the 50-50 drawings, so everybody gets to see what number is drawn and what ticket is drawn, so they can match that up if they're on location. And Victory Lane certainly helps us to sponsor that. I want to thank those guys. Lastly, before I get to Zach, I want to give a big, huge congratulations to guest number 1 on this show was Bobby Krug. He's also the producer of the show. You know him as Bob the Producer. But Bobby has been kart racing the entire 2017 season down at the Gateway Kartplex in the iDrive series. And the dude won the title. I mean, number 1 guy. I went down for the final races there. He dominated, really. 2 first place and a second in a 3-race series. Won the title, and with that, he got a Margay kart sponsorship for the 2018 season. That doesn't cover everything he's got, obviously, but I want to give him such a huge amount of congratulations. It's really awesome to see Bob do that and pull that off. It's a big, big, big deal. If anyone out there wants to help sponsor Bob on his kart next year, please let us know here at the What's That Like podcast. Send us a message. Send Bobby a message. He's at atabobby@gmail.com. Or you can reach him right through the Facebook page here as well. So congratulations, Bobby Krug, Bob the Producer. Couldn't do this show without you. Big, big, big congratulations to you, my friend. All right, let's get to it. Zach Wygal. Like I said, Zach was on the show maybe 6 months ago. Zach does a lot of stuff in Hillsboro, Illinois. And one of the things he runs over there is called Stamp Out Cancer. You're going to hear the whole story of how Stamp Out Cancer started, but we'll recap a little bit, kind of go over some of the things that he's had going on over the summer concert series, things like that. But Stamp Out Cancer is just such a huge organization in Montgomery County, supports the Montgomery County Cancer Association, and you'll hear why that organization exists in this podcast as well, as opposed to just going with like the American Cancer Society or something like that. So it's a great story, great things to promote. And like I said, Zach chose our show as the platform to make the big announcement this year, who the 5 celebrity teams are. They're going to be competing for champion of the Limp Seek battle at Stamp Out Cancer 2018. So let's hear from the guy that started it all and find out what's that like. Zach, you're back on the What's That Like podcast. How you been, buddy? It's been about, 6 months?
It feels like it's been an eternity.
Yeah?
Yes, my heart has yearned for this.
Yeah?
Yes, but I'm back, yes, and I couldn't be more excited to be sitting here at Studio 312.
That's correct.
Studio 312 on this lovely afternoon. Yes.
Well, it's good to have you back. I mean, you were one of the first guests that I had that I think really formed what the show was to become.
Okay.
When I think about, the title, what's that like?
Mm-hmm.
And you think about who does interesting things and who has interesting events. Mm-hmm. You fit in those categories. You've got
somewhere.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff
Someone
going
accepts
on.
Me.
The stories you told that time, that when you were here, just about everything that was going on in Hillsborough really just kind of set the bar for where the show has gone since. So I remember when we were talking then, you said you would always want to come back. And I said, well, absolutely. And plus you had what today's topic will be about is Stamp Out Cancer. Mm-hmm. You had to come back, number one, to talk about that. But number two, you're just so damn good at this.
Why, thank you. I like to talk. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, but yes, I do like to talk. And yeah, of course, I mean, like promoting things that I'm involved in. Why not? I mean, that's just, and I like this show. I've listened to every single episode. I'm what do you like a What's That Like minion? Do you have like a name for your followers? What are they called?
It's the WTL Nation.
WTL Nation.
So
yes.
yeah, when you're hashtagging, it's hashtag WTL Nation.
Gotcha.
So when I'm out there promoting something, I always thank the WTL Nation for all their support.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I am part of the nation.
You are
of domination.
The nation of domination.
Some WWE stuff there.
Let's talk about what's been going on since you were here. Last time you were here, it was a big talk about Imagine Hillsborough, mm-hmm. and you had the summer concert series. Mm-hmm. How'd that all go last year?
It was another successful year. First year, none of our concerts got rained out. So that was really good, but all the bands were awesome. I mean, it was just an all-around good year of just, music once again. And I don't know, like I'm already looking forward to next year's. So but it's also on the back burner. But yeah. It's one of those things you're constantly thinking about. Like, I don't know, like I went and saw Ben Folds mm-hmm. last week. And afterwards, there's the Halo Bar, which is connected to the pageant. Yeah. And a band post saying, hey, we're going to be playing afterwards, there. And I'm like, well, they're from Champaign. So I went and looked them up on like YouTube. I'm like, if they sound this good live. And I watched them and I'm like, these guys are really good live. I have a friend that plays in a band in Champaign. So I texted him and I was like, yeah, has you heard him? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, and you could probably get him for a good price. He goes, but they're going to be big. He's like, I would get him now. So yeah, it's one of those things you're constantly thinking about.
What's the name of the band?
I haven't announced it, but no, honestly, you can look them up. They're called the Bashful Youngins. And afterwards, I'll play you one of their music videos. Yeah. And like I'm just saying, like when I'm watching, I'm like, man, this would be really good in Hillsborough. And that's one of those things I'm at least constantly thinking about is when I see a band, like, should I bring them to Hillsborough?
So you're not announcing them, but they're on the scouting report.
They're definitely on the scouting report. Yeah. I was blown away by how good they were live.
Yeah, you had some good shows last year. Who'd you have? You had I know you had the Voodoo Players,
Eagles, yeah,
Voodoo Eagles.
Sean Cannon's Voodoo Eagles. We had
you had the Steve Ewing Hounds mashup, which was the big centerpiece, right?
It was. That's kicked it all off, and that turned out phenomenal. Yeah. Because not only with Hounds, there's a girl named Abby Stahlschmidt. And Abby is the girlfriend of the lead singer of Hounds, a guy named Jordan Sloan. But Abby has a musical career that's getting ready to take off on her own. She just had a song that's playing on like the CMT network, a country song, but she plays the violin and plays it very, very well. Also a model. But so she came on in like the horn section that would normally be with the Urge. she accompanied them and did the violin.
Wow.
And Steve was blown away. Steve was like, I was not expecting that whatsoever. And so Abby actually she did the home opener for the Blues. Did Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
Abby Stahlschmidt did. So like it was cool, getting to know bands even more and more. Like our family for the summer concert series is just growing. And you get to know more and more people and get to see their successes. And that's one of my favorite things. I think besides them, we also had Oak, Steel, and Lightning from Hillsborough, the Young Eyes.
Yeah. That was it, 4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So, but yeah, next year, one of the things I'm looking forward to is taking over the entertainment for Old Settlers and just seeing what we can also bring to the table when it comes to entertainment for that. I'm stoked about that.
Is that going to be one of the 4, or is that a 5th part of the summer concert series?
It's going to be a 5th. So we will, it's not set in stone, but I'm looking at having a June show, the 4th of July show, 2 in August, which is going to be the 2 for Old Settlers, but not doing one that weekend of, and then 1 in September. So it's going to be replaced with basically, 2 shows, that Wednesday and Thursday.
And you were telling me offline, location is going to change for some of the shows.
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking still possibly, just moving them all to the pavilion, the 4th of July pavilion. Just make it easier for parking for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, scenery out there, and
you got fireworks out there on the 4th of July. Yeah, it's great out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been. I have ideas in the works.
And I would guess a guy like you with ideas, they have a tendency to you make them happen. You make your dreams come true, don't you?
I make myself not sleep sometimes. The weirdest thing, I normally when ideas come to me, it'll be at like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
too.
like I'll wake up, like have to go to the bathroom or something. And I'm like, oh, this would be a good idea. And the next thing you know, I'm like on my phone and I'm like researching things. And I'm like, it's 4:00 now, and I got to go back to bed because I got work tomorrow.
Exactly.
But that's it's a constant thinking.
The worst part is, and the same thing happens to me. This show came out of that type of thinking as well. I was literally laying in bed listening to some random podcast, trying to go to sleep, and I'm thinking I can do one of those, which means I start thinking about it, and then I start going on. The worst thing that happens to me, tell me if it happens to you, is when you have a brilliant idea in the middle of the night, and then you don't write it down, and you don't research it, and you wake up at 7 or 8, and you go, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone. I don't even remember what it was. It seemed brilliant, but I don't even know.
I had this crazy one the other day, and I instantly texted one of my best friends, Chris Reynolds from Hillsborough. He does all my graphics for Stamp Out Cancer. And, since day one, I was roommates with him in college, and I just texted him, I go, let's make a movie. And he's like, what? I go, yeah. I go, and I sent him a link. I go, here's 5 movies that people made just with their iPhone. And one of them was like at Sundance Film Festival. I go, if Clerks can be made into a movie, I go, why can't we make like a Clerks? I go, the writing's going to be the big part. Honestly, we just have to have a really good idea. And I go, but the filming, I go, that can come, maybe naturally. I go, or maybe we can make a short, like a 12-minute short with a really, really good idea. And he just like, at first he thought I was joking. He's like, well, I don't know. I go, why can't we be kids again? Like going around filming things and acting, finding people that want to be actors in our town. And I go, why can't we do that? I think it'd be fun to try to get like a community on board with like, hey, we don't know if it's going to be any good, but let's make a movie.
Crowdfund it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that like right now, I'm thinking nothing but Stamp Out Cancer, but it's like eating away at me in the back of my mind. That's the latest wild hair.
No, I tell you, you've seen on my page, when you go to the What's That Like page on Facebook, facebook.com/What's That Like podcast, registered trademark. I do videos, not just the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
But you'll notice every now and then I'll put up a video. I'll be somewhere interesting, and I'll go to I was at the Christmas Story House, or I went to the American Picker Store, or where else? We were at the Grand Canyon. I mean, just crazy things. We did a solar eclipse video.
Yes.
All that is shot on iPhone. And it's so much fun. It's so easy to do. It's quick to edit. And you know what? It just works.
Yeah. I think it would be fun. Like, one of my favorite movies, I think it's one of the funniest movies ever. You ever heard of it? It's called Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
And so, that whole premise, it's a Christopher Guest movie.
Christopher Guest,
it's so like the same people did like, Spinal Tap. But that was where they got the entire community on board with, having a play. And they're like, oh, we're actually, this Mr. Guffman's going to come watch it. So everyone's, excited. And it was so terrible. But it was just the excitement on everyone, making that play is what was the coolest part.
Yeah.
It was very endearing, like watching, those people, get excited. And I go, so what if our movie's terrible? At least,
You made it.
Yeah, and we have a theater in town.
I was just going to ask you.
Yes.
I know you got the greatest place in the world to premiere it.
The greatest movie theater in all of the land is there. So, no, I mean, I say that like with 100% certainty. I mean, I was just there the other day watching The Exorcist. They were doing Friday night shows during Halloween. And I mean, it was like, I think it was a 9 o'clock showing or 10 o'clock showing. And I was like, yeah, for $5, I get to watch The Exorcist, on the big screen. So.
Great place.
It is. Hey, and I got my Star Wars tickets for opening night.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my first time going to be going to a premiere there. I went and watched them, and we talked about that before, how they do premieres, but this will be my first time going in person.
Yeah.
So.
That's going to be cool. We better kind of refocus this a little bit.
Always. But, that's all right.
But it's really because it builds into what you really came on the show for. And that's, you said you're in the middle of Stamp Out right now. Tell our listeners, I mean, everybody in Montgomery County knows what Stamp Out is, I would assume. But when you start branching out into some of the other parts of my listening area here, it might not be something that they realize everything that's going on. So can you tell us a little bit about what Stamp Out Cancer is and how it got started?
I've always wanted to do something and I didn't know what. Like when I was growing up and I knew I was supposed to be doing something bigger, but it's one of those things I couldn't get it out of me. And there's different I remember relationships that I had, with different girls. They're like, when are you gonna figure out what you want to do? And I never really knew. And teaching is one of them. I figured that out. But Stamp Out was that thing that I finally figured out, and it came from different things. Well, one, it's based on my father. He was a mailman in town. His nickname was Stamps. Passed away from a brain tumor in 2006. And leading up to that was just when you get that news, and I remember getting that news that when it was when it was going to be terminal, that whole thing leading up to it. But once I found out it was going to be terminal, I'm like, okay, I have X amount of years left with him. We didn't know, it could be, they said from 6 months to 4 years. And you start trying to cram everything at once. And I got to know my dad more than I ever have, in my life. And he just started telling me different stories, all the bands he used to go see and all these things. But at that time, I was failing out of college once that happened. Everything was just I just focused, on that. And after he passed away, I still sat around. I'm like, he never got to see me, graduate college. I'm like, I've never done anything in my life. I feel like I've been wasting everything. So I had that, and I remember there was also a really, really bad breakup. I remember too, and it was kind of with the lines because I wasn't doing anything with my life. And you ever heard of Buckminster Fuller?
No.
Buckminster Fuller, he created the geodesic dome. He actually used to make houses that were built.
Now I remember this name. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so when you'd go, there's a playground equipment, and they called it, the Bucky Dome. One of my friends said it to one of my friends, Mason Kessinger from Hillsborough. We were going to Springfield one day, and he asked me if I ever heard of, Buckminster Fuller. I'm like, he goes, you remind me of him. Why is that? He goes, Bucky had some really bad things, happen in his life, and he never was doing any of this. And then all of a sudden, one day he woke up. He goes, in his words, he's like, I want to see what one man can do for society. That's all I want to do now. He goes, that's all. He woke up one day. He goes, I want to see how much good I can do in this world. Because he was going nowhere. He was doing nothing with his life. And all of a sudden it just clicked in me. He goes, what happened to you? He goes, because all of a sudden he goes, now you want to do everything. I'm like, it was a combination of, a bunch of different things. When Stamp Out came around, it honestly started smaller. I was bartending at the time, and I wanted to donate all my tips to the MCCA. But I wasn't thinking anything bigger. But one of my friends, Leslie Pollard, she goes, we can make this a lot bigger. And I'm like, well, what do you mean make it bigger? So let's make it an event. So I started talking to my sisters. They hopped on board with being on the committee, and we decided to have, celebrity bartending. And that's when it really started to take off, just because I think, one, it was the name, and that's just something to say to me, Stamp Out Cancer. I don't know, because it goes,
great name.
Great name.
And it's got so much, it works on both levels.
Yeah. And so
it's what it does, and it honors your father.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does. And once I started working on that and, and having, different ideas and stuff, it took on a life of its own. Matt Hughes was, one of our celebrity bartenders, a 9-time UFC welterweight champion, the first one. And everything leading up to it, and that night was just almost like a blur, but it was an awesome blur. And we raised, $10,800. And that's when, I mean, I realized like after that, everything like these things, I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing, is just seeing what I can do for not just like MCCA, but my town and, community. Because I think some people, when they get into doing these things, they have different intentions. I had someone, I remember a couple years ago, they asked me if I was going to run, like, you're running for office, aren't you? I'm like, no, I'm not running for office. Like they honestly thought like they thought I was going to run against like Avery Bourne. And I'm like, no. I go, why? I don't want to do that. He goes, well, then why are you doing all this? What do you mean? He goes, well, why are you doing stamp out? You got to have a reason for it. I go, I don't know, to make the world a better place. And that's why, and I don't want to run for any. I don't want. Can't we just do things because it's good and it's fun?
Yeah.
And I wish I could, and the thing is, it gets contagious. You get more people on board with having that mindset that, one, we can have awesome entertainment and a good time, right? In our small community, but two, let's give back. Let's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but with Stamp Out now we're going on our 8th year. We've raised over $325,000. We've went through, the Dancing with the Stars, and we're doing, lip sync battle now. It sells out in minutes, when the tickets go on sale. And this year we actually changed up. We added to our committee. I always kept it small. My committee is normally just my family and a couple friends, but this year we added a few past participants, and it's gave new life to us.
Yeah.
I mean, with Stamp Out, I always want to be on like the cutting edge, and this has made it just, I don't know, this year is turning out to be something special. It really is already, but I feel like I like missed some things. It's almost like I jumped from the beginning all the way to the end of Stamp Out. But
well, let me focus some of this stuff.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
So this will be the 8th year.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be 8 years into it. You told the story of why you got started. You wanted to do things good. Let's put some numbers to it. All right, how much have you raised through Stamp Out over the last 7 years prior to this one?
Yeah, it's around $325,000.
And that goes to the MCAA,
every single,
which is
the Montgomery County Cancer Association. So we basically, Hillsborough or Montgomery County, kicked out the American Cancer Society. They were like, sorry, but you got to go, because in all honesty, a lot of the money of theirs goes to overhead. And they'll even tell you, like, hey, does this money go to our community if I donate to them? And their honest response is, we give it to where it's most needed. So it may not even go to the community. And a lot of the money goes to people's salaries. So the MCCA form saying, well, what if we just had our own committee and every single dollar goes right back to the community? And they formed that, I think we're on our 11th year with the MCCA. They were actually around, when my dad was around. And it is every single dollar. So if you are going through cancer and you need help with like our biggest money for the MCCA, I'm on the board for them as well, goes to direct patient care. So like help with bills. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's mounting costs whenever you're going through treatment.
Every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah.
We have scholarships for students. We give out 20 different scholarships every year, but they have to earn it. They actually have to volunteer at different, events that the MCCA puts on. I think they have to have 50 hours every year to get that. Just even like awareness. We have different, things that we host to try to bring, because Montgomery County is actually in the nation when it comes to highest rates when it comes to colorectal and breast cancer. I mean, in the nation, it is staggering what's taking place in our area. But probably my favorite thing that the MCCA does is they provide rides to treatment. I was fortunate with my family. When my dad had, his brain tumor, my mom also had breast cancer at the same time. There was a day when I actually went to go be with my father after one of his surgeries. He had, I think, 4 surgeries, but I think it was after like his 2nd or 3rd brain surgery. And so once I got done visiting with him, I went to the other side of Siteman Cancer Center and sat with my mom during chemo. Same day.
Wow.
So yeah, it's not just about my dad. It's also my mom, who did successfully, beat breast cancer. But there was always a bunch of us there. Every time it was like a big get together. Whenever my dad had brain surgery, we'd always stay at the same hotel. There'd be like 20 of us, it seemed like, in the waiting room. We had all these board games and snacks and stuff. And, every night, we'd just go and hang out like at Max and Irma's. That was like the bar connected, to the hotel. And and we were there for a couple days. I mean, every time. There's some families that don't have that. I mean, they go and fight cancer alone. And no, we have people that will drive them to treatments and sit with them and just talk to them. And, and we pay for the mileage for them to go there. And I think, to me, that's the biggest thing that we offer. And that's the things that bigger organizations don't think to offer people. It takes a certain amount of compassion for an organization, I think, to, think of those things and follow through with them. And I couldn't be more proud of the money we donate to the Montgomery County Cancer Association. They are top notch, one of the best around.
It's awesome. It really is. I'm speechless, really. Great story. It's where your passion really ignited this. And that's why you are the way you are today. You had some bad things happen, refocused your direction, and now you're doing so much good in the community. You started with this, but it's branched into the other things, like we were talking with Imagine, Hillsboro, summer concert series. You've told me this before. You wish you had more time to do more good, and you actually thought that you still weren't doing enough.
I still don't on that. No, because I just have, like I said, those ideas that keep me up, in the middle of the night. There's just more and more that I want to do. It's crazy, but it's in a fun way. I don't look at it as like a chore. I look at it as that's what I want to be doing.
Yeah. So this year, Stamp Out Cancer, date for that is the big event.
Yeah, January 27th, 2018.
And this is another lip sync battle?
It's another lip sync battle.
And you've got a major band again coming in to headline.
Yes. So, I'm every year I'm excited about the band. Really excited about this band. They're called Platinum Rock Legends.
Yeah.
Out of St. Louis. And what makes them unique is that they have about 5 different lead singers, and they do about 20 different bands complete with costume changes. And it's not just the costume changes, they play the part. So, like, let's say they have a guy that dresses up like Freddie Mercury. So he'll be up there singing a Queen song. Well, Prince may have just got done singing. He's in the back singing vocals, like backup vocals, still dressed as Prince, still acting like Prince, and it looks like they're doing like a duet, and they just do that the entire time. They just constant costume changes. It's a whole spectacle. And I think when people go to see it this year, they're going to be in for a treat because it's nothing like we've had before. Every band we've had has been awesome, but this one's going to be a performance on top of, the music. So I'm pretty pumped there.
So that's the musical entertainment. The big part of Stamp Out, though, every year, and the reason you came on today is really to talk about your 5 teams that you have every year. And this is really where most of the fundraising comes from, right?
It absolutely
But before
is.
we get to who they are, tell me really about what the purpose of the couples are and how that works from a fundraising standpoint that really adds to the total you have at the end of the year.
We call it Stamp Out Cancer Season. And it lasts for a couple months. And honestly, this really kind of got started from Donnie Downs, when he was a participant one year. Because that first year when we did just raising like the tips, it was just that night. People showed up and just, put tips in a tip jar. The next time when we actually did the Dancing with the Stars, we thought it was just going to be like the night of. But I remember like John and Susie Gaylor, who won, did like a letter writing campaign, to their friends, they're getting checks. And that's when Donnie was like, you know what, I'm just going to have an event and raise some money, beforehand for it. And that's where it's taken on a life of its own, to where these celebrity couples are now having, we have events every Friday and Saturday from when the tickets go on sale to the actual event. And the reason why we have celebrity couples, well, one, they are our bread and butter. They're
the lifeblood.
They are the lifeblood. But it gives them a platform and an opportunity to give back on a big stage. Everyone is affected by cancer. Everyone knows, someone, and they've all went through, different ordeals with it. And this is their way of saying, you know what, I want to give back, in honor of this person. And it's really heartwarming, when you see, I don't know, not just the reasons, but what they put into it. These couples, they really own it and just want to just run with it for 2 months. And we have to be, we're upfront with them, hey, you're going to have a lot of people, pressure, a lot of people talking, and a lot of just. But I go, when you're done with this, it's going to be one of the best things you've ever done. You're going to walk away saying that was so much fun. I've never had a couple be done and be like, I wish I wouldn't have done that. No, they love it. They love everything about it. And we're this year, I mean, like, well, along with like every year, they join our family. And actually, like, we have our own like secret Facebook group of just alumni. Just alumni. We give them like heads up of like, things that are coming up and things like that. But they help us out. Like, hey, like, is there any like people that, that you would want us to maybe nominate for you? Things like that. And it's good that it keeps growing. Our family every year.
Yeah. Well, let's get to it. I'm honored that you wanted to come on our show and announce who the 5 couples, I shouldn't say couples, 5 teams.
5 teams, yeah, because
Yes.
it's not just couples.
Yeah.
It could be, people that, that are friends.
Yeah. So why don't you give us, for the first time here on the What's That Like podcast, run down who the celebrity teams are going to be for Stamp Out Cancer 18.
So from Nokomis, we have Carrie and Russ Foster. We have 2 couples from Hillsboro, Kelby and Cody McCoy, and Greg and Gay D. Wright.
Okay.
And then for the first time, we actually have 2 couples from Litchfield. We've only normally had 1, but this year we're doing 2 to really like get into that Litchfield market. And we have Teresa and Tom Priddle, and Jessica Vickery and Brittany Ronco.
Yeah.
We have, all ages is what we, have for this year, and really some go-getters. I mean, they've been messaging us like, when can we start? When can we start?
Yeah.
When can we start? And they actually can start the day tickets go on sale, which is December 9th, is when we're
with their own events.
With their own events. We had to actually put a cap on it because people wanted to start, months ago. Like, that already, we don't want to like drown the market where everyone's like, oh, another Stamp Out Cancer event. It's been going on for 5 months. No,
Yeah.
we just during the holiday season we actually have a time frame.
So tickets go on sale on December 9th.
Yeah, December 9th.
And that event is usually an event in itself, right?
It absolutely is because it sells out that day. So like the first year we did tickets, I remember I had like a bag. I'd walk around, different places like, hey, you need tickets. And it took me a couple weeks and we sold out, our tickets. The next year, I remember we did online sales and like in person, and we sold like all but like 100 tickets. And then online, I remember I had to shut off because I'm like, wait, what if I can't even keep track of like, like a countdown online? So, but that sold out in like 2 days, I think is what it was. And then that's when it turned into, after that, people were like, wait, we're not even going to be able to get in unless we get in line that one day. So now it went from like selling out in an hour, then like 30 minutes. Last year was 12 minutes. And
how's the process work?
Okay, so we do it at T-Shirts Inc. in Hillsboro. Small little shop, right by the movie theater. But it works because the counters, we have one line like just for cash and check, and one where we swipe credit cards because we can do the square. And we'll already have people like, because we'll do our T-shirt sales that day, they can make pre-orders. The people that are in line, and there is a line, it normally starts forming, and I don't want to tell people when to get in line, but I think last year the first person got in line at like 2:30 in the morning because, well, we have 2 different things that we sell. We have tables, VIP tables, which get you within the first 2 rows of the actual stage, and it's the only tables we sell, and I think we do only 16 of them. That's it. And 5 of the tables are already spoken for when it comes from the teams. And another table we do in advance. Actually, we'll go on eBay the week before tickets go on sale and sell a table, and that normally goes for more than it is. But tables are $400, and that gets you 10 tickets and like a little like fun little gift that goes with it. But you're guaranteed a seat because in the actual place, I think there's only 300 seats altogether, and we have like 600 people, there. So normally those go pretty quick. The actual tickets, individual tickets, are $20 this year. The max you can buy is 6. We had to put a cap on that because I remember one year we had people buying 30, 40 tickets.
Scalping.
Well, yeah. I mean, pretty much. So the line, everybody that was in line last year got a ticket, actually.
Yeah.
It worked out perfect, but I can't guarantee that every year. And I know I have people calling saying or texting me saying, well, I can't make it that day, or, can we reserve in advance? And I'm like, this is the fairest way. My own like best friends are in line. And because it helps to show support, being like, hey, if they got to get in line, you got to. If you can't be there that day, talk to someone that might be.
Yeah.
But the fairest way is, to me, is just to have it that one day and be done with it. I mean, that's if you can make it in line that day, because it's hard for me to justify saying someone, that's like 100 people back in line, being like, oh, sorry, someone just texted me, couldn't be here, and they need a ticket. But you're out.
Yeah.
No, if you're there that day, that's it. And it seems to work out because It is an event in itself. Sometimes teams now are having like fundraisers that day. Like last year, our winners, Emily Zimmerman and Kelsey Flack, had they sold hot chocolate and cinnamon rolls.
It's December.
It's December, and they made a lot of money on that. So it's an event in itself right there, and it's fun. And actually, our tickets, we actually print through Ticketmaster, because there's a hologram on it to where it can't be duplicated. Because we heard rumors the 1 year where we had them just regular tickets that we had printed around here, we heard that people were making copies of it.
No kidding.
Yes. So to combat that, there's a hologram on our tickets to where you can't duplicate it.
That's awesome. That just shows you how well it is, how well done it is. So to recap, Stamp Out Cancer, January 27th.
27th.
Okay, that's a Saturday, 2018. Tickets go on sale on December 9th at
T-Shirts Inc. in Hillsborough at 10 in the morning.
10 in the morning, and you better get in line is what you're telling me.
Yeah. I mean, if you want tickets, that's the time to go. One of our... it's always who can beat Tony Marcolini. Tony Marcolini runs Marcolini Construction. He makes our float for that you guys have performed on, and he's normally the first one in line and the thing is, he only buys 2 tickets. He just likes to have number 1 because they're numbered. He just wants to have the number 1 ticket. That's it. And so last year he talked about camping out at like 10 going at 10 o'clock the night before. Well, he kind of forgot about it, and he actually was the second person in line.
Yeah?
Yes, for the first year. So I think this year I could see him coming back with a vengeance and actually camping out.
That's funny. I should go over there and do a live shot.
Oh, you should.
What's that like to stand in line for the Stamp Out Cancer event?
Yeah, it's fun. The people that get in line, I mean, they're there with blankets. It's a fun little community. We go out there and talk to them once in a while, like, hey, here's our shirt order forms, and also just who's excited,
Well, I guess I don't have to go over there. WSMI, you said, is coming, right?
WSMI is supposed to be there. Yeah, they want to do remote drops, so they'll pop in once in a while during their regular scheduled broadcast.
That's awesome.
Interviewing people, I think, and things like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But we'd love to have the WTL Nation there. Absolutely, I think you'd have fun with that.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. Get some T-shirts away or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, and
now we're thinking
you'll because just like that, you'll have a base of 100 plus people just waiting there in line that you can just talk to.
Well, I think you basically solved the problem for me, because I was thinking at the end of the show, going, "Hey, can you hold 2 back for me?" But you already explained you're not doing it for anybody, so I guess I got to go get in line if I want them.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're catching on now.
All right. So you got the 5 couples. Let's run their names down again.
Yes, from Nokomis, Illinois. And Nokomis they've been phenomenal every year. Every couple we have there, because they really rally around there. But Carrie and Russ Foster. From Hillsborough, Kelby and Cody McCoy, as well as Greg and Gay D. Wright. And then from Litchfield, Teresa and Tom Priddle, and Jessica Vickery and Brittany Ronco.
Yeah. And what will they be doing? So it's just a lip sync battle.
It's a lip sync battle.
So just like on the Fallon show, right?
It's just like that. And the reason we switched to it was, one, that was the new craze, was lip sync, but it gives people a lot more freedom. So before, when we did the Dancing with the Stars, some people would have fun with it, but others, would get kind of more serious. And we're like, with having lip sync, you can still dance if you want. But you can add...
Helps if you do.
Yeah, but people are adding in more props, or even doing skits. 2 years ago, one of our board members now, which is Corey Evans, him and his wife Katie, they did Spartan cheerleaders. Lip sync, one of those whole skits and dressed up as them. So it gives you more, just freedom to do different things.
Yeah.
And and we have it filmed. Like the whole
professionally.
We do have it filmed professionally, which is awesome. That comes from Video Edited Memories, and that's Marty and Pat Niehaus. And they've been awesome every year, getting it edited and up pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
So, but we're talking on different possibilities and what to do with that for this year. Which I won't make that announcement just yet.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
gotta hold some of it back.
Yeah, well, we're still doing the logistics of it.
So, anything else about Stamp Out Cancer we haven't talked about?
Absolutely. We actually have a trivia coming up.
Awesome. And the date on that is
December 2nd at the Hillsborough Moose Lodge. It is our second one now, and it's a pop culture trivia. So anything from movies and music, could maybe even be video games. You never know. But just, that type of trivia. And last year we sold out. Mm-hmm. This year we're on our way. I think we're up to 15 tables and we normally sell 20. So maybe by the time this airs, if you don't have a table yet, you might want to think about it. The tables are just $100 and you can have up to 10 people. We did sell out our sponsorships actually on that. So, and actually, real quick, just as another awesome shameless plug.
Get these folks listed. They put their money up for this. They should get the recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 10 different sponsors, and it's Nikki Lohman. She's running for Montgomery County Treasurer. TT's Bar in Irving, National Bank of Hillsborough. Scott Woods, who's running for Montgomery County Sheriff. Hair 51 in Litchfield. State Farm in Litchfield with Mark Steeran. Laughlin Electric, that'd be my brother-in-law. The Hillsborough Heat, but it's the Hillsborough Area Tumbling Academy.
Okay.
And that's actually put on by another one of our new board members, Heather Greenwood. Kelly Services, and McKay Napa Auto Parts. So we had 10 sponsors that sold out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And they're round sponsors. So each round, is a...
Oh, so every round is sponsored by a different...
by a different person, yes.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another way to add a little bit more revenue and for them to get their name out.
Yeah, especially if you can tie in a category to them as well, some ways.
I mean, think about that. But see, I actually participate. I have a table, and it's... Who does the trivia is Jim Toko. He does TKO trivia. Mm-hmm. He is the voice of the Hillsborough Hilltoppers. This guy, his voice is very unique, and I think he would actually be a good guest sometime, just because he used to do minor league baseball. He was an announcer for a minor league baseball team.
Yeah,
the guy's got he's
a million stories. I bet
he does have a million stories. So he actually puts on the trivia. Awesome, does a great job. Last year, everyone loved it. For that actual event, let me think. The doors open at 6. Trivia starts at 7, and that's it. Yeah, the Hillsborough Moose Lodge on December 2nd. So it's the week before our
bring
ticket
your
sale.
Own snacks. They've got the full bar. Probably
we got the full bar, but yes, you bring some food, and we're gonna have fun with it. We had a lot of fun last year.
Well, I know we're looking forward again to all the events that'll pop up. So the events will start after 12/9, I assume, or that day probably. You'll start having some of the couples or teams doing some events. Those are always fun. As you mentioned, Stamp Out Cancer Season. You will not lack for things to do.
No, and
from the 9th of December through the 27th of January.
Yes, and if people want to follow which events are going on, sometimes teams will make their own page, but our page on Facebook, facebook.com/StampOutCancer.
Yeah.
Get us up to we're pushing towards 2,000 likes. I'm hoping to hit the 2,000 mark, this year. And also our website, which is www.mccaweb.com/StampOutCancer. We actually have a running event list that we just keep adding to almost like a calendar that we have on there. So either way, but follow us on there. Just sometimes they're in the paper. There's always going to be something going on. I like that time of year. I remember one year I had to go to an event at the winery in Coffeen, then shoot over to Pana to an event there, and then back to Hillsborough, and did like a triangle of Montgomery County of different teams.
I remember that day. I think the event that the band played was the Retro Rocket.
It was. We ended
was
there.
Your last step. Yeah,
it was. Yes.
Yeah, I remember that day.
But it was fun because you get to meet so many different people as well. It's of the ever growing SOC Nation, which we do have a hashtag as well. Every year, here's hashtag SOC 2000 or SOC 18, I think is what we do. Yes.
Yeah. Hashtag SOC 18.
And we're also on Twitter. Stamp Out Cancer is as well.
There you go. All right. Before we leave the whole Stamp Out Cancer topic, why don't you name check your committee, all the folks that are working hard with you?
And they are. I mean, I honestly, this Stamp Out Cancer is I'm just one little part of it. My committee is some of the most dedicated, caring, compassionate people that I've ever had the chance to work with. And one thing I like the most about Stamp Out Cancer Season is that the meetings we have, because we don't have them, and we'll start having more regularly. But we're a close knit family, and I get to see my nieces and nephews more. It's just having them around because they're such good people. So on the committee, I have my sisters Renee Laughlin and Dana Holzhauser. They've been there since day one. Mm-hmm. Also Leslie Pollard, even though Leslie Pollard, she did move to Colorado. She's still helping out. I mean, she's still doing things, via web. We can do that now. And we're going to miss her this year. I think she might make it for the actual event, but she was one of the founding people. She was the one that came up with the idea, let's make this bigger. Because she was a great promoter. She's the one that did the summer concerts with
Driving
me.
force. Yeah.
Driving force. So yeah, this is the first year without her. It's kind of weird not having her around, because I normally would stop by her office, seemed like every day during this. Jeremy Schmidt, he is just one of my friends from Hillsborough. He's the only one that wasn't like a family member. He came around, I think, on the second year. And then I have my sister-in-law, Stacy Wygal. She's taking a little bit more of a backseat this year because Chris Wygal, my older brother, is kind of jumping on board as well. It used to be that he's like, well, I'll just be the muscle. But I think, he's liking it so much. So we're trying to have meetings that might work around his schedule because he's busy this time of year with UPS.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have them. And then also expanding on our team this year is we added Heather Greenwood, who won it 3 years ago with Nathan Kleinard, Kelsey Flack, who won it last year with Emily Zimmerman, and then Corey Evans, who participated 2 years ago, and he also was one of the performers with Kelsey last year as well too. And they've just, everybody, I mean, that new blood has just been wonderful, but you become better and better friends with them, and they're becoming one of my really good friends now, both, Kelsey and Corey. So
well, I'm sure they'll help guide this new crop of contestants through. And here's how to be successful. Here's the things that work. Here's what maybe you want to stay away from, whatever, right?
And that's another thing that we kind of started is like, we almost have like mentors now. So like if you got the team, let's say you know them, you're the one that got them on board, you're kind of like their go-to person then. It used to be I would get a lot of the text messages from all the teams, and my team, they want me to keep doing less because I sometimes forget things because it seems like I have so much, to do. So I'm trying to delegate more. And that's one of the things, and it's helped out a lot because they now have, someone they know that they can go to, and it's someone that's been through the process before.
Yeah. And
that helps a lot too. And they bounce fundraising ideas off of them, and just, maybe they just might need them with ideas of possible performances, and just, it's that new blood. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about my entire team. I can't say enough about them.
Yeah.
They are like some of my favorite people in the entire world, hands down.
That's great. And it's great you find them right there at home. When you live in a small town, those people just got to come together and great things can happen.
Yes.
It's obvious what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, and we just had our team recognition dinner for the top fundraising teams for the MCCA on Thursday, this past Thursday. And I think what really sunk in was that as a whole last year, the MCCA raised $140,000. We're just one of the many fundraising teams. There's a lot of teams working their tail off, to raise money for this. But I was like, it hit me. I'm like, we just accounted for half their budget. I mean, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That just, yeah. And I think that really sunk in on our team too. When we heard that, it's like, we want to keep running with that. I mean, I want to make that budget even higher and higher.
You don't want to go back to number 2.
No.
You want to stay number 1.
So I remember the very first year they did that team recognition dinner. Or no, I mean, they've been having them for a while. National Bank always won it. And that first year when he did $10,800, we came in second. I think National Bank raised like 11 or 12. And I remember jokingly, looked at National Bank, I'm like, oh, you got a target on your back. We're coming for you. Yeah. Now, we're the top fundraising team, but honestly, we love what everybody else is doing.
Well,
too.
You want that. If you're pushing the boundary, they're trying to catch you. The only people that win is MCCA.
And Montgomery County wins.
Yeah.
And and we've actually had people from other counties, like Bond County, be like, how do we start a thing like the MCCA? And I think our idea and our format of how we do it could spread everywhere, along with any organization.
Yeah.
I think nonprofits, to me, for the most part, should be that.
Yeah.
I mean, the only overhead cost should be like, your stamps or, things like that, not someone's salary. And I get it. There's big, nonprofits that people do need to get paid for their work, but like you can be doing a lot of good things, in your area just by doing it the way MCCA does it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, let me shine another light on you. I was talking to you a few weeks ago, and you told me you were headed up north for the evening because you had an award to go pick up.
So we were nominated and won for my 8th grade team. It's called the Those Who Excel Awards. It comes from the Illinois State Board of Education. And we traveled to Bloomington to accept it, this very big hall, and as a award of meritorious service is what we got. And it's for my entire 8th grade team, and that's another team that I can't say enough about. Like, you have to be a certain kind of person, I think, to be a teacher. But these people that I work with, I mean, every teacher's great, but these people that's in my hallway are like, they're just wonderful people. And what we did was we noticed that we wanted all of our students to have Chromebooks, but not everybody has, schools, we were hit hard, with budget cuts and stuff. So we started raising our own money. We would have during the summer pork patty sales. We sell, candy on the cart. In between classes. Florence Rosmazlovich does a great job, of doing that. Next thing we know, we keep raising more and more money, and now we're 1-to-1. Like, not just our 8th grade, but our school's now almost at a 1-to-1 ratio. And, we did that outside of school, pretty much, raising that money. And not only that, our principal nominated us because we work really well together. Everybody in the hallway, we get along great, and we want to do whatever we can for the kids. And it was good that I like that award, because I like how it was a team award, because it absolutely takes a team to do some of these things. And these people I work with, they're second to none, really.
What's it like to be you, man? You've got the greatest people to work with, it sounds like. I'm sitting here, you're not taking any credit. You shine it all back on the folks you work with. That's just awesome.
Well, because the thing that bothers me sometimes, I think too much of a light is shined on me, and I'm like, it's not me. It's all these other people, I'm a part of it. I get that. But these people deserve credit too, because they're just as, wanting to do as much as good things, as they can for this world too. So what? Yeah. I mean, just because, I have a brand and a logo and no, they should have a brand and a logo too, like just a big thumbs up or something. I mean, I'm just fortunate, I think, to be able to surround myself with just, amazing people. Even down to like my friends that I hang out with. They're just everyone. There's a lot of good in this world, and I wish people would see more of that. Yeah. Not just the negative stuff that you see on the social medias. There's a lot of good in this world.
There really is.
So much. And if you look at that side of it, it's almost like hard to take in sometimes.
Yeah. Well, Zach, I mean, we were talking earlier in the year, and you're a big promoter of my show. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
You retweet them, you share the stuff on Facebook, and I know the one thing that bothered you more than anything was when I told you weren't the #1 downloaded episode.
It didn't bother me. I'm just like, well, how can I? And I tell you what, I mean, I've listened to every episode, and Caitlin does an awesome job. I mean, she has a really good voice.
She's great.
I'm saying, like, her voice, like, I could sit back and just like listen to, like, certain people when they talk, they're just, you can hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, she does a phenomenal
She's a pro.
episode. Yeah, she's very good at what she does. So yeah, but yeah, we were #2 or 3 or whatever went down. I'm like, how do we get back on there?
You know what? She's not #1 anymore.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
Who was that?
It's the one where Bobby interviewed me.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty good too.
But I'll throw another wrinkle into that. You guys, when you were on the show, was when the show was in its infancy.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
The episode that I've had this tailwind of the Turner Hall Queen of Hearts behind it.
Yeah.
That shines so much more light on the show now than it had 6 or 8 months ago. I'm guessing that this episode we're recording right here is going to push you right back over the top, my friend. I really believe that.
And actually, I just noticed that, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, someone just listened to our episode a while back. Brad Sertich, he's the...
Brad.
Yeah, Brad. Yeah, I mean, I just know him because when I was doing things with SB1, I was trying to help get, the school funding passed, and me and Brad, would be at different events. I mean, I met different superintendents that way.
He's going to be so excited to hear his name.
Yes, but he's going to be mad that I didn't wear the orange sunglasses here. Honestly, I forgot I walked in. And it's all because, okay, for my Twitter profile picture for a while there, it was just a picture of me wearing these, kind of bright orange sunglasses. And when I changed that picture, it's almost like Brad got offended. Yeah. He's just like, well, where's the glasses at? I'm like, well, I try to get a more professional look because I'm like, here, we're talking about, SB1, and I'm trying to, I had to go to different, events and speak in front of people. I mean, I did one with the superintendent of Staunton schools, me, him, and Andy Minar, where we did a teletown hall comp. And that's where they call out to different people. And at one time I looked up and go, there's like 7,000 people on this phone call. and I'm talking, and they're listening. I'm like, it was too much. It was kind of, like,
Yeah.
But I was really passionate about, trying to get school funding, equitable school funding. But yeah, meeting him, and every time he's like, "Where's those glasses at?" I'm like,
He's going to be. I see now. I've known Brad since Brad was a little kid. He's a couple of years younger than me, and he's actually married to my friend Stacy, his wife Stacy. And I, we work together down in St. Louis, and we've been carpooling for a decade. So Brad, I see all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Brad just messaged me recently, and he's like, "Oh, I'm halfway through. Got the Zach Wygal one done," and it's real good. Yeah, he's gonna be so happy he got name checked on this episode.
And you know what? And I'm just gonna, yeah, he got name checked, and I'm just gonna throw this out there to him, like. That Piasol bird, like, okay, so I was at the volleyball game a while back, and I took a picture of, like, in their gym of that bird, and I'm like, who came up with that design? It haunts me.
So we need to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah,
mystery?
I mean, have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
But like in their gym, that picture, it's almost like someone's like, okay, I'm going to put a nightmare on a piece of paper and call it a bird. I'm like, how's that even a bird? I don't know what that is.
We've just offended everyone in Brighton on this show.
No,
actually,
no.
That was Zach Weigel offending everyone.
No, I like the logo, but I'm just saying it is a scary looking thing.
The one on their football field, I think, still breathes fire.
Oh, it does.
Smoke.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
yeah.
It does. And he actually sent me a video of that because I always talk. Yeah, I wish I had a hilltopper that could breathe fire.
So the good news is for you, Wags, is that I just messaged Brad this morning, and I said, next spring, 2018, is the 25th anniversary of the Staunton Bulldogs run to the state title.
Yes.
Which Brad was on that team. And their coach Legender, I couldn't have been any closer to a teacher in high school. Mm-hmm. So my goal is to get those two guys to sit right where you're sitting right now. We're going to have our own little, we'll call it mini 30 for 30, and get those guys over here. So, Brad, there you go.
Yeah.
Offers out there. Get Coach Legender. I want you at I want you in the studio 312, where Zach Weigel regularly resides at these days.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna switch my mailing address to here.
Yeah, there you go.
Just the junk mail.
All right, a couple more fun things, buddy. We've been rolling a while, but again, it's always good talking to you. Some of the things that I did on the episode I had was I went back to all my guests that, like you, and I asked a bunch of questions of, and I said, send me whatever questions that you'd like me to, that you'd like to ask me. And one of the questions you asked me, I thought I wanted to throw back on you. Which cult would you start?
Oh man, and I thought you might do this, like coming back at me, and I've been like racking my brain, like if I was to start a cult. I'm still thinking, like because I don't know why I even thought of that question for you, but I knew you'd have an awesome response, and I liked yours too. That was of the sidekicks or whatever, like
all the sitcom sidekicks.
Sidekicks. I think I'd start a cult of the different people that are in memes. So I would just have a room full of like the Irma girl, and like the guy, you know what I'm talking about, the different.
Oh yeah, the most interesting man in the world,
the stalker,
and the redheaded kid.
Yes, the redheaded kid. I think it would be a cult of the people. Oh, the kid that wears like the backwards hat. They call him something Steve.
And the guy from Ancient Aliens. Captain Picard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the guy with the whoa, like with the
yeah.
I think that would be. I mean, that would be just an interesting time with all those people in a room together.
That would be good. Yeah. the meme cult.
The meme cult.
I think you just coined we just coined that phrase. I know you're a big binge watcher.
Yes.
You love binge watching Netflix things and HBO things and whatever else. What show what would a show be like that you'd want to binge watch? So there's a show that's not out there. What is the one thing that would pop up that you go, I've got to watch that? What would it be about?
Okay, anything that's Lost related. And that's not saying the show. Lost, did you ever watch Lost?
Dude, I swear to God, Lost is one of my, until Breaking Bad, I would say Lost is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
And I worship the ground that Hurley walks on. He's my favorite character ever on TV.
What I liked about it was they basically had a concept of like, okay, we have a beginning, and I think they thought they had an end, and we're going to build towards something. Because for years, they're just like procedural shows, and I can't stand them.
And I hate them.
I can't stand, they have a beginning, middle, and end, and then it just doesn't carry over.
Well, those procedural shows are all like, every episode's a standalone.
Yeah.
There's a crime, we're going to solve it, we're going to go to court. Next episode. The shows like Lost, the anthology shows.
Where you're going on websites looking at theories.
Yeah, the
That
numbers.
That was the supreme water cooler show. And
Absolutely.
So any shows like that, there's one on Netflix called like the OA that I like. It's like that.
I've heard. I haven't watched
The
that.
Leftovers is actually from
Damon Lindelof. Yeah.
I liked that because you never know what's going on, and that's what I think I like about it. Is some people don't like it; they want to know what's going on, and
Right.
don't have me guessing. Me, I want to be guessing.
No, Lost was probably the where the internet exploded a TV show. Mm-hmm. There were websites. How I got into podcasting in the first place was because Damon and Carlton Cuse did their own podcast after each episode.
Yes.
And that's the reason I started listening to podcasts.
Every day, because I was working in Springfield at the time, and I would drive to Springfield listening to that. I had to listen to every single podcast.
And then there was a podcast by it turned out to be like a dad and his son, and they did a podcast. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Because I listened to different ones about Lost.
Lost.
And it was all about theories.
Blew me away. I mean, like when you think that, the numbers 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42, 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. I'm into it. When they finally opened the hatch, when they get there, remember the door came down and then the lights flipped to fluorescent or whatever, and Locke's laying there, and that map got scrutinized. Mm-hmm. Everything about that show got poured over. A lot of people bag on it. And a lot of people bag on it just because the way it ended. And I'm clearly in the camp of it wasn't the ending that may have been the most satisfying, but the journey was friggin' awesome.
Yeah. No, because I don't think they could have ended it in any way to where everybody was happy.
Right.
I thought it was great. I mean, that ending gave me chills. I mean, that
was
whole
awesome.
entire... Yeah. And so, no, I think they didn't answer everything. And I'm okay with that. Like, I really am. Like, I maybe I want to keep guessing still. And that's actually one show that I have not went back to rewatch. I'm going to, but I haven't done it yet, because I want to forget a little bit.
I have. I've gone back. Actually, my son, who's 14, he spends a lot of time watching it. And Breaking Bad just beat it a little because it did have the best ending.
Breaking Bad did have the best ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Breaking Bad didn't have me guessing all the time. But what was great about Breaking Bad is I've never cheered for a bad guy like that. Like, you didn't want him to get caught, but it's like, but he's a terrible human
Terrible
being.
guy.
He's putting meth out there.
And, at the end of the day, he gets everybody around him killed.
Yes. But you didn't want him. Like, you wanted, oh, how is he going to get out of this? When really it should be like, is this guy going to get arrested? He needs to get arrested. Something needs to happen to this guy because he's a terrible human being. But to make you want to cheer for the anti-hero like that was just... That's what made that show great to me. And I like Better Call Saul a lot, too.
I love Better Call Saul.
Because you're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a bad human. Well, right now you're seeing some of the redeeming qualities, but I think it's going to get worse. But still, you're doing the same thing all over again.
Exactly. Great topic. Ooh. Who is your idol in life? Doesn't have to be a famous person. If there's somebody you kind of go, man, I wish I could be more like that guy.
My oldest brother.
Or that girl. Your oldest brother.
Yeah, my oldest brother Chris. He seems to do the right thing and always knows when to do the right thing.
Yeah. And
I know I do a lot of stupid things in this world. And every time, why don't I just be more like him? Because, he takes that older brother, baggage with it, and he owns it. Mm-hmm. But I've probably disappointed him, 1,000 times, because he kind of took the place, in a way, of my dad. Mm-hmm. I don't have that, so that's who I turn to. And honestly, and anybody that just wants to make the world a better place is who I look up to. I was a big Obama fan, and it was mainly because, and it wasn't for policies or things like that. It was because just trying to get people excited about life and, dream big and those type of things. He was actually the one that came on and said, if you want to make a difference in this world, become a teacher. Your country needs you. Mm-hmm. And that was before I was a teacher. And I took that to heart. I was like, he's right. I mean, if I thought about becoming a teacher, that was one of the catalysts was him when he gave that speech saying, yeah, your country needs you. Become a teacher.
That's awesome.
So, no, I just like people that try to that and my oldest brother.
Well, that's great. I'm sure Chris will be happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, if he listens.
Yeah.
If he listens.
Is he not a technology guy?
No, I don't. He actually told me, when I told him that we were going to be doing the announcement on here, he goes, oh, I never did listen to the first time you were on there. So, no, he probably won't hear it. So, he's busy. I don't think he's a podcast type of person. Yeah. I don't know. He might be for this one.
What's funny to me is now, since, and if you're listening to this, you know by now that I do the Queen of Hearts drawing every Friday night.
Yes.
And I've got my Facebook exposure went from, it's basically quadrupled in about 2 months in terms of the likes I get and the follows and everything like that. What I've experienced, though, is I get so many people come up to me and they go, man, I love your podcast. And this is a podcast, what we're doing. It's an audio show.
Yeah.
They just think the videos that I do on Facebook Live is a podcast. And I just go, thanks. However you want to experience what's that like is about, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I do get a chuckle out of that, because I don't correct them. But as long as they're enjoying it, and I'm cool.
Yeah.
And Chris is probably going to be the same way. If it was a quick video, he didn't have to click anything on it. There. This takes a little bit of clicking around to sometimes find. But I don't know. Once they do, I think we create a lot of folks that I know a lot of people that said you were the first podcast I ever listened to that have found so many other things. Yeah. Like they'd go, I love your podcast. Hey, have you heard this thing called Serial?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. That podcast. Yes.
I'm like, it's pretty popular one. Yeah. You might enjoy it. So. Yeah. You were talking about Obama a second ago, which leads me to my next question. I saw you on Twitter not too long ago, and I know I commented on this. And I say, I don't get on Twitter a lot, but my favorite thing on Twitter is you what is it called? You're trolling or not trolling. You've got a Twitter war going with Trump, but he's not replying to you yet.
He's not. Every once in a while, I mean, let's just be honest. The things that he tweet, I every morning, nothing surprises me. I wake up and like, what am I going to read this morning that he tweets? Yeah, because sometimes I'm just like, without getting like political, but I'm like, can we just all agree that even his followers are saying he probably shouldn't tweet that much? Yeah, or tweet some of those. Yeah,
we're
things.
not getting into whether you like him, dislike him, or whatever. Yeah, but everyone can agree he should stay off Twitter.
Yeah, and I like responding to him as Chief. I always say, "Hey, Chief." Like a few days ago, like he said, he goes, a year ago today is when we us deplorables, had the most, the biggest margin of electoral college victory. I go, Chief, that was a year ago. I go, can we talk about something else, there, Chief? Really? I mean, it's if you're still talking about deplorables a year later, it's like, come on, man. We got other issues going here instead of talking about your big win. So,
one last question for you. Mm-hmm. All right, we talked about your passion and everything you've done to build up the concert series. You now got part of the Old Settlers. Yeah, entertainment lineup going on. This is obviously an area of something you really enjoy, and that's bringing live music, new music to people in this area, stretching the boundaries of maybe what they thought about. You go to a lot of concerts. Yes. You're at the pageant, Blueberry Hills. You're always down in St. Louis seeing different acts. Yes. What would Zach Wygal's ultimate music venue be? It's yours.
It's got to be smaller. To me, the pageant is one of the best venues in the nation, hands down, because you're never like so many like feet away, no matter where you're at. And the acoustics are awesome in there. But also places like the Copper Dragon and Carbondale that has like the wraparound balcony, or even when my brother Christopher took me to Mississippi Nights and I got to see the Urge there. That smaller feel of a smaller venue is definitely the best. I mean, because you see, it's almost like bands bring out the best in them. One of the best shows I actually went to, besides going to see the Urge all the time, or like the local H's, ones that they're just great live acts, or Ben Folds, was like I got to see Mumford & Sons at the pageant, and I'm never gonna see them. I seen them, I watched them at Scott Trade Center too, just different. Yeah, I mean,
intimacy is gone.
The intimacy is gone. So yeah, it would definitely be a smaller venue.
What would it be called?
Depends on, I guess, where it's located.
Where is it going to be located?
Oh, it'd be in Hillsboro then, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe like the Hilltop or something. Just
the Hilltop?
The Hilltop. It's just something to go along with, like, because I like when communities rally around like their mascot and things like that. So, yeah, maybe the Hilltop.
So at 2:30 tomorrow morning, you're gonna wake up and have a whole plan to open the Hilltop.
That might be part of the movie.
I'm planting a seed in your head that you're gonna make it come to fruition, my friend. I got confidence in you.
Well, that's maybe down the road. Maybe after I win the Queen of Hearts, I can open up something like that.
What would you do if you won that money?
I mean, in all honesty, like I'd student loans and things like that, giving back still. Yeah. That's just. But I just don't know But and I'd go on a trip. I've been here lately. I've been finding that traveling is really good and going places. Because for a long time there, like when I was in college, and I'm still in college, I'm in grad school, but it seemed like I was always too busy. But now I'm trying to make time to go places. Like I went and visited a friend in Chicago. I was in Vegas last year. Like it's in Florida, like the year before in the Keys. And those are some of the best memories.
Yeah.
It's just seeing things. So yeah, I'd definitely travel.
You know what I'll say travel does for you is I travel all the time.
Yeah.
I'm gone, probably 40% of my year I'm somewhere. And no matter where I go, the best feeling I get out of any trip is when I pull off that interstate at exit 44 and I come pulling back into town and I see the Welcome to Mount Olive sign and I go, you're home. And I turn a couple corners, I pull into this driveway and I just appreciate where I live. Not because the rest of the world's bad.
No.
But because you got away from it, you come back and, people that never leave never have that feeling.
Yeah.
And I have that feeling a lot. I do appreciate where we live. I appreciate the people, the friends, the family, the bonds, the connections that you just have from where you live, that if you never leave, you never miss it,
Yes.
It really is that special. And I think you feel that way a lot about your hometown.
Yes.
And you've certainly been doing a lot to make sure that people do realize what a great place you've got. One of the best things you said on the previous episode, and I tell people about this all the time when they ask about it, is you said, nobody's going to help you in a small town.
No.
You have to do this yourself.
Yeah.
You have to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Companies aren't coming in. Businesses aren't coming in. You've got to build it from the ground up within. You got to take care of it yourself. And I think that's you, man. Yeah, that's what you do. If it doesn't exist, what you see, what you want, if it doesn't exist already, you're a guy that figures a way to make something happen. And people appreciate you for it.
Well, and people, what they need to realize in small towns, like, factories are leaving, stuff like that. I go, well, this you got to realize they're not coming back. They're not. I mean, no one wants to say, hey, there's a dying town. Can I come swoop in and save them? No. And I've actually had talks with some of the higher ups, like with Care Otter and stuff, and why they're here and why they came around is because that hometown feel. So let's market ourselves as just a place you want to live, because the world is flat now. You can work from anywhere. Companies, tech companies can work anywhere now. They don't have to be in cities. Let's offer we're just a really good community. That's what we can offer you.
Yeah.
It's just a good place to live. And not every place, some places they just want to throw in the towel and be done. And no, Hillsboro's going to fight. We're going to keep fighting. And I think we're going to get some companies like that they want that hometown feel.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Zach, you're welcome back here anytime, my friend.
Yeah.
I love the way the conversations tend to go. You and I are so much alike in thinking sometimes it scares the crap out of me. But yeah, you're welcome back anytime. So anyway, Zach, thanks a lot for coming. You're always welcome guest on the show. Love having you here anytime you want to come back.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is great what you're doing. It's great what you're getting people excited in Central Illinois, and that's awesome.
Well, there wasn't one. And I mean, there's guys around here, gals that maybe have podcasts. They're just topically focused in a genre.
Yeah.
Or their rant casts, as I'll call them, or streams of consciousness. I wanted to do something that shined the light back on the cool stuff that's going on around here.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. I think it's going well. It's fun.
Yes.
I appreciate your help. You're always out there moving the needle for me when you can.
Oh yeah, it's a great show. I'm not gonna put out tell people to listen to something that's not quality. So.
I appreciate that. So Zach, thanks a lot, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, that was Zach. Always great to have Zach on the show. He's going to be a regular guest. He's just real good at it. We have a really good rapport. I like it when he comes over to the Studio 312, and we just banter back and forth on things. So once again, Stamp Out Cancer 2018 big event will be January 27th. Tickets go on sale December 9th, and that's at T-Shirts Inc. at 10 a.m. in Hillsboro, Illinois, right there, right by the movie theater. So if you want tickets, you got to get over there, get in line early. You heard Zach talk about that. get your tickets in. They've got Platinum Rock Legends, and the lip sync battle will be there as well. So, long episode. I'd love to get to Greg Shively today. Actually, the guy just went to Cuba, so I want to talk to him about that at some point, if Bob will ever let me, and we'll get him on the show and talk about what it's like to go to Cuba. So, big shout out to Greg there. We will get you on the show, buddy, I promise. But without further ado, let's go ahead and end this one. I want to thank you all once again for tuning in and supporting the show. T-shirt sales will be up and available here in a couple of days. Take advantage of that. We really appreciate it. And until next time, peace out.
What's That Like is available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Search for What's That Like. Subscribe today and never miss an episode. Streaming is available at SoundCloud.com and on the SoundCloud app. Follow What's That Like at Facebook.com/What's That Like Podcast and on Twitter at What's That Like Pod. All opinions of the guests of the What's That Like podcast are their own, not necessarily the views of the host or the podcast producers. We hope you enjoy this podcast serving Central Illinois and beyond. Peace out!